Hello and welcome back to AP Psychology here on Educator.com. This unit has quite a long name: Biological Bases of Behavior, Neuroanatomy, and Organization of the Nervous System. In this unit, we're looking at biology, and it's going to be about 8 to 10% of the AP Psych test. And believe me when I say there's a lot of info here, and so you're going to be writing down a lot of these ideas and doing a lot of memorizing of brain parts and brain functions. The brain. It weighs 13 to 1400 grams, about 3 pounds. Now, my brain, you can't tell from here from the camera, but I probably have a 3.5 pound brain. I come from the land of the big brain folk. How do I know that? Because I wear a size 8 hat. Yes, I have a supersized dome. The brain has the consistency of pudding. So a lot of the brain is what are called glial cells, the little glue cells that hold things together. Pudding, you can literally use a little suction device to suck brain tissue out. The brain contains about 500 billion neurons, and each neuron may be connected through a synapse to up to 10,000 other neurons. Now, you think you have a lot of friends when you've got 2,000 on Facebook, but each neuron might have 10,000 other connections. And it has plasticity. We talked about this before. And plasticity, remember that plasticity has the idea of plastic, and plastic is a substance that's moldable. And so plasticity here talks about the moldability of function. And so if there's a lost function or if there's damage to the brain, we may be able to get it back through rehabilitation and a retraining of the brain. And that's where rehabilitation psychology, physiotherapy, all those fields for people who have suffered brain injuries, whether it's from accidents or strokes, whatever it might happen to be. Incredible amount of work that can be done to retrain the brain. The challenge is, though, is that plasticity lessens as we get older. It's great when we're little kids, less functional when we get older. And the brain itself, it's the weirdest thing in the universe. Psychology is the brain trying to understand itself. And so I would while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. Well, you might ask me when I might be doing that. I would do that if I only had a brain. I don't, because I'm just a scarecrow. My head's all full of stuffing. There's nothing in there. It's terrible. So first, when we're looking at the brain, we're looking at nervous systems. So we've got the first one, the central nervous system, the CNS. It's the brain and the spinal cord. It integrates and controls everything else. The peripheral nervous system, it's all the other stuff out here. The peripheral goes out to the rest of the body, and you've got your cranial nerves, and there are several pairs of cranial nerves that we don't have to worry about. This is not an anatomy class. And spinal nerves, which I'll show you, but again, you don't have to memorize all their names. We've got the sensory nervous system, otherwise known as the afferent nerves, and that's going to be the somatic or body movement nervous system, and the visceral sensory nerve fibers, and they will conduct impulses from receptors to the central nervous system. So out here in our senses, in our hands, in our arms, in our chests, our backs, our legs, all of those are sending signals up to the brain. How are things affecting you? Affect. Afferent system. And then there are efferent systems, and those are going to be motor neurons or motor nerve fibers, and they are going to conduct impulses from the brain out to the rest of the body, and that's going to control the muscles and the glands. So under the peripheral nervous system, we've also got the somatic. Greek word soma means body, and so when I'm doing the somatic nervous system, I'm doing my voluntary movements. And so when I'm out dancing, I'm doom, cha, that's my somatic nervous system. And don't laugh, because I think I might really dance like that. If I don't dance like that, I'll look that silly. But soma, Greek word, means body, movement. But then there's your autonomic. Auto means self-regulatory nervous system. And that's stuff that goes on involuntary, and it's impulses from the central nervous system, the brain and the spinal cord, to the cardiac muscles, the smooth muscles, and the glands. And under autonomic, we've got the sympathetic nervous system, which deals with emergencies, or what we think are emergencies, the fight or flight response. And so when, and the example that I always use in my classroom is I've got this very large real-life bowling pin. And when I'm introducing this unit, what I do is I pull out the bowling pin. Nobody knows what I'm going to do with it. They're like, what do you have a bowling pin for? And then I slam it on the table. Makes a very loud sound. Everybody jumps and startles and they freak out a little bit. They're like, why did you do that? You scared us. Even one of the people when I'm right near, I said, I'm about to hit this on the table. And they kind of, But what I'm trying to do is to activate the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is its counterpart in the autonomic nervous system. And so that conserves energy and it promotes housekeeping functions during rest. It also calms you down. So if you're a little bit nervous, you're a little bit amped up, you have a lot of adrenaline going, you're going to want to take a breath and activate your parasympathetic nervous system so that you can feel calm and relaxed. And so to give a brief overview to get rid of the afferent and efferent, you've got the CNS and the PNS. The PNS is divided into your somatic and your autonomic. And your autonomic is divided into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. And so this is going to be the nervous system idea that you need to be familiar with. Motor neurons effect things. They're efferent neurons, and sensory neurons are afferent neurons. They're affected by other things. So those are your nervous systems in a nutshell.